Normalcy. Besides dotted summers with my father, the only other times I looked forward to were the golden opportunities to visit my mother's parents, whom we affectionately refer to as Nan and Gop. My grandparents met each other in kindergarten and dated later in high school. My grandfather's buddy was headed off to basic training and asked my grandfather to take care of his girl while he was away. Goppa definitely took care of her. They were married for more than 66 years. Gop is a retired Air Force Judge, Advocate General, and Colonel. He always kept a short, salt and pepper haircut and a medium-length beard. As he aged and his hair and beard turned white, he looked a bit like a slender Santa Claus. Exceedingly intelligent, Gop's military periphery could blur, making him seem tough, but he never meant to cause harm to anyone. Throughout my life, most people referred to him as Colonel. As a little girl, I thought they called him that because he owned 3 restaurants and looked a little like Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. My Nana was a stunning Southern lady with waist-length black hair that she kept in a neat bun above her neck. She was always dressed exquisitely enough to have tea at the White House. She had flawless olive skin and a magnetic smile. She was classy and sassy, and she made me feel loved. As she joyfully juggled 9 grandchildren, our time together was never enough for me. They took me camping at least a dozen times. The most pleasant part of my time with Nan and Gop were the quiet moments, simply sitting by the campfire and talking. I remember balmy dusks, the night sky bursting with stars, and the air humming with the various sounds of nocturnal insects. Goppa would be stoking the fire for Nana, because she's always cold, but he'd stop to wink at me every now and then. If the smoke from the fire scorched my eyes, Gop would always say, "Smoke follows beauty," which made me feel pretty. We'd munch on a smorgasbord of provisions, and everyone, except me, ate my grandfather's catch of the day. I didn't like fish, so Gop commonly threw a can of spinach in the fire, my favorite vegetable, which made me feel loved. That didn't mean I didn't like to fish. I loved it when I was a kid. During one trip when I was about 10, we were all fishing with little success. It was becoming unbearably hot and tiresome. I remember thinking, if I'm hot out here, I bet the fish are too. I noticed one small tree shading the spring. I cast my line in the shade. My rod bowed, and my line went tight almost as soon as the bait hit the water. I had just happened to stick my lure right in the middle of a school of fish. I pulled in trout after trout. We all lost count of how many. I'd caught enough rainbow trout to feed most of the families of vacationers. I became a star at the camping grounds. "What's your secret, kid?" random people would ask me with a playful nudge and wink. I knew many of them were great anglers, so I felt almost noble. I'd never felt proud of myself before. My Nana called me the best fisher granddaughter for months. I had plenty of adventures with Nan and Gop. I really benefited from these times where I could just be a kid. Continually, I was the kid waiting to be taken home. This ticked off many caregivers who took out their exasperated frustrations on me. One day, I overheard daycare teachers referring to me with a big word that I didn't know or understand. Too many adults used my lack of intelligence to their advantage. Foolishly, I thought they were interested in me, maybe even thought I was special. It's childish, but imaginably, I thought I might be awarded Student of the Month, hauled up on my classmates' shoulders and paraded down the hallways with enthusiastic hoots and shouts. I eagerly ran home that day, fervently hunting for a dictionary to look up the word they used to describe me. My smile faded, and my heart dropped as I read the punishing definition for the word, nuisance. The gravity of devastation and rejection I felt was immeasurable. Any fragment of self-worth within me was shattered. I was a nuisance. The next summer, Dad remembered to buy me my ticket, but still picked me up late from the airport, as usual. He was always late when picking me up, wherever I was. The crowds of families happily greeting each other scurried towards the baggage claim. Meanwhile, I stood there alone, waiting for Dad. Out of breath, he finally arrived at the gate. I couldn't help but to smile, gratefully showed up. He acknowledged my smile with a tight head nod and a polite smile. Weird. He hustled right past me. I moved towards him, but right before I could say hello, he walked past me again. It took me a minute to comprehend that so many years had gone by, he didn't recognize me. I had to chase my own father down, stand directly in front of him, and say, "Hi, Dad," before he acknowledged me. The years do go by, Dad. He jerked back, obviously startled at my growth and how much I'd aged. He grasped my shoulders and his eyes ran over me from head to toe for a few times before he offered me an awkward one-armed hug. He looked like he was going to cry, and he gasped that there was a good reason for his tardiness. He had a gift for me. With my bag in hand, we walked up to his all-too-familiar old rusty gray Oldsmobile I nicknamed the Zombie. It was mechanically dead, but somehow alive. I noticed through the grubby windows that there was a litter box in the back seat. As bizarre as that was, thank goodness there was nothing left in the litter box. Dad didn't even like animals. My heart skipped a beat. I had been begging him for a pet. I swung open the passenger door, and curled up on the front seat in a tight ball was a tiny ball of fur. "Oh, Daddy, thank you!" I yelped as I carefully coddled the soft bundle. Gentle meows vibrated from the newborn kitten. She was a gorgeous white Persian kitten with sparse brown spots. I named her Amanda. I considered myself a very good cat mommy, if I say so myself. I collected change to buy Amanda special Cal-Can dinners because the commercials always sang about a vitamin in every can. Her health was my priority. I adored her, and she was my first real pet. For many years, my sister, my brother, and I all visited my dad together. Each of us had our own mattresses in his small apartment and little else. Dad wasn't a homemaker kind of a guy. There wasn't one picture on any of the walls. He had very little furniture, and he didn't even own a radio. We didn't need more. We had his love and his calm. He owned a small house in Texas. Inside Dad's homes, let's just say he was always in desperate need of a woman's touch, or any touch for that matter. I wouldn't necessarily call Dad's homes unhealthy and unsanitary, but every place he rented or owned was extremely overlooked and poorly kept. Okay, it wasn't kept at all. Dad wasn't concerned with mowing a lawn or living germ-free. He was disturbed by how fast time was slipping away. He wasn't lazy. These were merely petty things that didn't matter to him. Dad's homes were just basically empty spaces, but cleanliness didn't matter to me. He had never hurt me. Not once in my life had he ever even raised his voice to me. The foul cockroaches, however, were another story. Mom was the reverse. We had to make sure her home was spotless, sanitized with bleach, and vacuumed and dusted many times a day. Mom was a gifted interior designer. Her homes, however rare and short-stayed, she made magazine beautiful. At Dad's, I was forced to share all amenities with hundreds of cockroaches. They were everywhere. In the walls, under the floor, in the pantry, in the bathroom, even inside my cereal box. I hated if I had to use the restroom at night. When I turned on the bathroom light, the floor would literally move as innumerable tree roaches scurried to hiding spots. I walked on my tippy toes to the toilet so as not to step on them. Considering stock and calamine lotion, I also scratched on disgusting bouts of chiggers and disquieting poison ivy from the backyard.